There's no 100-mile race in Australia, so it was put forth the idea of running from Bondi to Newcastle. My mindset was that there was no other options. I was going to finish. There was no, I was going to run to 150 and be satisfied. The finish line was the finish line. There was nothing else. I'd never wanted to run 100 miles. I never thought it'd be something that I would do, but when it was asked towards me, it was that thought in the back of my head that I'd do. There's probably like a 1 in 10 possibility that I could do it, and like that thought did bug me. So I had a coach for about 5 to 6 months in the lead up, because obviously the entire time you're going to be running the 100 miles is going to be a very paced, low heart rate run, so that's what your training consists of. The main goal was kilometres in the legs, so at the start I would average out about 50 kilometres a week at the start, and towards the end I was getting close to up towards 140 kilometres. I wasn't confident doing it, actually. I spent a lot of time researching it, and if you to Google it and you look it up, everyone's completed it. They'll say the hardest thing you'll ever do, you'll be in the darkest place ever, you'll have the worst thoughts. No one really describes it as a fun experience. So I was already preparing for like the most painful experience of my life. My confidence was that I knew I had done as much as I could, and I was going to go out there and basically go down swinging in the attempt to do it. Like, if I was going to fail, I was going to fail. The first 70 to 80 kilometers honestly didn't feel too challenging, to be honest. It was very because I think I had spent so much time training and running. I got up to a point where it was more the repetitive state of just running, and because it was new, obviously I'd never ran at 4 in the morning after previously running 100 kilometers. So it was more the unknown when I got into the early mornings, the repetitive. I feel like if you were to fail, it wouldn't be because of your ability, but it would be because of the monotonous, the boring sort of continuation of just basically one foot in front of the other. You're trying to be in the moment of getting to the next checkpoint, but then you're also trying to battle thinking that you've got 70 kilometers to go as well. So that's where it starts to get a little bit doubtful, because when you're just focusing on getting from here to there, you're in more control of that and you're more confident in that. Whereas when you start to think about the checkpoint after that and the checkpoint after that, how you're going to feel, how much, if everything's going to work out to that point, if you're even going to make it, that's where it starts to get a bit sort of doubtful. Everything was starting to really creep in, and obviously that was totally new territory for me. I had never run up to 140 kilometers when I got to Catherine Hill, which was very close towards the end, but also it's that sort of no man's land of you've run so far, there's still a good chunk to go. You still got to run at least just under a marathon towards the finish, which is still plenty of kilometers. Everything that you thought you would have control over starts to obviously get out of your control. Things like the heat, knowing where to go, that's when those little things just start to add up, and something that's annoying suddenly feels like it could stop your run. I just broke it down into something that I was going to get to that next checkpoint, see how I feel. That was my reward. Getting to have a rest, getting to have a drink, something like a Red Bull or even hot chips. So it's something that you need to look forward to, because if you don't have something to look forward to, then there's a lot of talk that makes you obviously want to quit. My mindset was that there was no other options. I was going to finish. I was going to run to 150 and be satisfied. The finish line was the finish line. There was nothing else. Your muscles have like a sunburnt sort of feeling, and then they're sort of like cement. They're rock solid, but then also a mixture of they feel like they've been attacked by like razor blades. It's just this ultimate sort of feeling of basically discomfort that wasn't I was looking forward to, but I was aware that it was going to happen at some point. That was definitely tough when that kicked in, because you obviously knew that it wasn't going to get any better, but that was something you sort of had to rely on. It was one thing that from doing previous runs, like I've run 100 kilometers, once it gets bad, it's not going to get any worse. Like pain is pain, you'll get into pain, but unless you get injured or you actually pass out, you basically get into the pain cave and then you're there. Once you get to the point where obviously your legs are hurting, muscles are really fatigued, it's these other things that come into it. So it was getting really hot towards the end within the last 10 kilometers. So I started to get a bit of heat stroke, which just makes you a bit like dizzy, struggling to eat. And then, cause obviously you've been running for like about 22 hours, you really sort of deplete the body. So I got to a point where I'd like bonked and I completely drained everything from my body. It's obviously the lowest point. It's just basically like chipping away, and then what is the next step? The ultimate thing is obviously you just run until your body stops or you completely fail, which I had like sort of, I wasn't looking forward to, but I was aware, and it was something that I was basically looking forward to, in a sense that I'm gonna run and finish this, or I'm going to make sure that like my body fails in doing it. It was definitely like when you get there, because you've been running for so long, for me it felt surreal that I had actually finished. All I wanted to do was just like relax and sit down and sort of, I arrived and I thought instantly maybe that I would like collapse or fall asleep or relax, but your body is so wired that it would be impossible to fall asleep. I actually struggled to fall asleep that day, and the following hours afterwards, your body is just running on adrenaline and it's so alert that it's impossible to relax. At the time you're thinking, well, that wasn't fun. Was it really worth it? Like, it wasn't this amazing magical moment that is so glorious and fun. It's just you finally get to sit down and relax, basically. It's more about the patience to do it rather than any like sort of special talent to do it, I believe. It was something that originally I didn't want to do, but now that I have done it, I'm totally satisfied that I have done it. You're always chasing, you're always wanting to be better, you're always wanting a new limit or trying to push the limits, basically.